I can't see a bloody thing. You know. Yeah, I can't see a. Oh, hang on. I can't see a bloody thing. I mean, who wears sunglasses indoors nowadays? Obviously, got to be French. So I'm just. I've had a bitch slap from my husband, so I've got like black eye, and Jesus, that's bright. Bloody hell, man! No wonder I need these on. So, je m'appelle. Should I un petit peu, a little en français, mais oui. Here, fuck off, bitch slapping ass. So thank you to Sir Andrew James for the idea of doing this live in me Timbies, and it don't work because I can't see a bloody thing, and you can see all the reflections. It's like a bloody U2 video. Hang on a second. Honestly, I feel like Stevie Wonder. I can't see a bloody thing. And hang on a second. Hang on. Ta-da! Oh, Jesus, that's bright. I mean, who wears sunglasses in the... hang on a second. Oh, that's better. Oh, my eyes, my eyes. Who wears sunglasses indoors nowadays unless you've been doing a shitload of coke? That's the pop stars. Oh, I can feel a sniff coming on. Don't know why. Welcome to the theatre of the mind. Welcome to the body of the kirk. It's a broad kirk. We allow everybody in, including Frenchmen in sunglasses. So there's people who get in at 7:30 going, what's been going on? Everybody else is laughing. And, welcome. Hang on. Did somebody say bloodshot eyes? God, blimey, man. They're the only ones I've got, including me cataracts. You're wrong uns. So, welcome. We have water and hibiscus this evening because it's... oi, what a day. What a bloody day. I mean, we are going to talk about it tonight, but... talk about anticlimax. On my mother's side. Andy? Oh. Honestly, I'm far too quick for you. Oi, 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 oi. How are you? You wrongin'? I mean, I might put the sunglasses back on just for the effect. I thought I'd lost them. But Andrew James, thank you for the very good idea. I thought it was funny. I thought it was funny because I can see bugger all without these on, and I couldn't see anything with them on. Go figure. Neil Cunningham's in the body of the Kirk evening. Young Neil, welcome to the body of the Kirk. Good evening, one and all. Hope you're feeling a bit better, Rev. I'm better than I was on Monday. Holy Jesus. I mean, I felt embarrassed that I wasn't sharping on it. But a bit like radio shows, you've got to give your best, even when you're ill. So very kind of you to ask. Thank you, Neil. Hope you're feeling better, Rev. Yeah, thank you, Neil. Some words Starmer should take note of. The first time a person's freedom is trodden on by an authoritarian regime damages us all irrevocably. We are going to talk about today because it's been... Do you know sometimes when, like PMQs is 12 o'clock every Wednesday, and you kind of get to the usual and it doesn't feel usual? As my ninja teacher always used to tell me, Adrian, it's the presence of the unusual in the usual. So we are going to talk about that tonight. It's live 284 already, so soon. Oy vey, my life. Good evening. Welcome, Neil. Paulie Galtieri. Good evening, Adrian. You're utter wrong and hope you've had a good day. There's only really 1.5 stories in town. There are others. I mean, Ginger Bollocks is back in court again. Just as a little aside, because we are starting early. Hang on a second. I just need to make sure that my notes are yos. And I need to just make sure that everything's set up for... Right, there's those. Lovely. And what's that? Yes, there's, oh, lovely, lovely, lovely. And then, is that it? Oh, I say, what's that? Ah, right, okay. So, I'll get back to your doodahs, your comments. Oh, by the way, if you're new to the Body of the Kirk, please let me know in the comments and just say, hello, first time commenter, Adrian, or first time here at the Theatre of the Mind, the Body of the Kirk, and I will pop your cherry, because that's what we do on the channel. So if you're first timer, please make yourself known in the comments, and I will obviously on ceremony, and we'll welcome you to the Body of the Kirk. Now, for the first timers, the pews in front of the pulpit of truth, they are called the starmers. Why are they called the starmers? Because they're hard on your derriere. In which case, Sister Mary, the kind of head nun, and why is she a head nun? Because she's not had none for years. And the piles cushions are over there. I don't know why I'm pointing over there, but piles cushions are over there on the far side of the Body of the Kirk nave, and they'll just help you be a little more comfortable whilst the starmers are battering your derriere. We have free Battenberg and altar wine. If you don't know why we eat Battenberg here, well, some of the other parishioners, the congregation will tell you. And the altar wine is free, so you can get absolutely bloated whilst listening to the Theatre of the Mind, and we don't mind because we'll give you the altar wine for free. Although if Sister Mary has not put it out into the starmers, then we know that we've run out, and it's probably one or two usual suspects that have drunk us dry. So, welcome Paul Galtieri, Sir Andrew James. Starmer won't say a word about Chagos, but vocal about Greenland. Starmer, it's not about national security, it's about trade. Thank you, Sir Andrew James. Welcome to Body of Kirk. Les Griffiths says, Starmer, Greenlanders to decide on Greenland's future, whilst he is busy dismantling Britain's decision to leave the EU. The man is an utter disgrace. I completely agree with you, Les. Welcome to the Body of the Kirk, young sir, as ever. And Napoleon blown apart. Napoleon blown apart. Welcome, along with Mrs. Blown Apart, I do hope. Good morning, good morning. Is it? Are you 5 hours behind? Sunbeams will soon smile through. Good morning to you, to you, to you, and you. Welcome, Napoleon blown apart. Welcome. Les Griffiths. We love curmudgeonly. Well, curmudgeon. We love grumpy old tarts because we're all grumpy old tarts, older-ish. I think we're just life weary rather than curmudgeonly or grumpy. So we're life weary, but I tend to agree with Les Griffiths, and I would have hoid the chips back at them. Thought I'd treat me and the missus to fish and chips this lunchtime. 2 medium fish, 1 medium bag of chips, £21.45. Jesus, I'd want to shag the bird behind the counter for 21 quid. I told them to stick them. What a rip-off. I'm with you, Les. Mind you, what's the option? Kebab? Because they're all just ripping our eyes out. And you know, when the local chippies and or the eateries, they all disappear. They go, oh, nobody was buying from us. No, because your prices were wrong. The price point was taking our eyes out. Welcome, Les. Welcome to Body of Kirk. Andrew James. Trump was great at WEF. I noticed he only had a small applause. Well, I've heard those rumours too. Remember, people hate those who speak the truth. And size isn't everything, so I keep being told. Fish and chips is one of the most expensive meals along with pizza. It's cheaper to do a Chinese or the Harvester or Toby Carvery. Yum, 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 yum. Nothing better than a good British English meal. So welcome, Les and Sir Andrew. And we are going to talk about Trump and WEF today because, hang on. That's interesting. So I'm just getting an alert on my phone about something that... Now that's interesting. So the security system here at home is being disarmed by someone, and yet I'm the only person in the house. You don't think they're going to kick me front doors in, do you? I'd rather have my back doors bashed in. Oh, hang on. It's been switched off and switched on, switched off and switched on. Oh, well. It'll make me night interesting. Are you going to do the live whilst wearing sunglasses? From Andrew James. There you go, Andrew. A lot more Neo from the Matrix than the French bloke, the French tart. I mean, dear Lord. Did you hear the El Trumpo, say the other day, oh, he's going to be gone in a couple of months? No, I thought he was gone last year, as in Macron and his husband. I thought they were gone. I mean, I've seen him dance. That's the gayest looking dancing for a straight man I've ever seen in my life. And 10 people were jailed in court because they said that Brigitte had horrible wigs. Oh, Jodie Nicholas, I'm at the match, Adrian. Oh, don't talk to me about footy. Mind you, all of our players are coming back from the African Cup of Nations. Sandra's in the body of the... So, Jodie Nicholas, I hope everything... Who's that? Who's that that's put all those emojis with the sunglasses on? That is funny. That is proper funny. Jodie Nicholas, I hope you do well tonight. Is it Europe? Sandra says, hi, Adrian. The Mighty Blades are playing tonight. Hopefully... it'll be a win, but with 2 banned for 3 games, it's not looking good. Sandra, it's always better to travel in hope than arrive disappointed. So we always want the Blades to do well. In the league, Louise Sampson, evening Louise, evening all. Welcome to the body of the Kirk. Welcome, Louise. The Overall and Matthew Whedon and Lionel. I've arrived on my tablet, which for me is my normal mode. It's Adrian time along with a sandwich, a cup of tea, and 2 painkillers. Nice one, Lionel. Welcome to the body of the Kirk. I don't think you're allowed to take painkillers if you're having altar wine. So you might want to leave the altar wine alone. Although, if you have a word with Sister Mary, you can have Battenberg after your sandwich, or she might give you a nice bag of salt and shake. Just remember, it's how you shake them. It's not how you salt them. So Andrew James, you mucky tart. I see you. I see you. Good evening and welcome. And nice one, Lionel. I'll take blue pill for my prostate. Do they give you a blue pill just before you go to bed, Lionel? Do they give you a blue pill and some Ovaltine? Because I did ask a nurse. I was in a hospital once, and they were giving all the old boys blue pills and Horlicks for like a late night drink. I said, what you doing that for? She said, oh, it's really simple. We give them the Horlicks to relax them, to make them fall asleep, and we give them the blue pill so they won't fall out of bed, roll over and fall out of bed. Jesus, I shagged that gag. I see you. I've never seen so many smug people than I've seen today in Davos. They all look like the cat who got the cream. We are going to talk about that because it's just been a bit weird the last 24 hours. There's El Trumpo, the orange man, flying high. Not as high as Zelensky, obviously. Zelensky's not in Davos, by the way. Right. Let me start properly. Welcome to the body of the Kirk. Live number 284. The theatre of the mind. We are hurtling towards 300. Be blowed. So welcome to the Wednesday evening. Make sure that you've got your feet under the Starmers, the pews, and smash the likes on the way in, because I'm not going to ask you again. So we'll start with, should I make the announcement now or should I make the announcement at 8 o'clock? I've got Sean Penn's always been an oddball. Yeah, with Shaggy Madonna, though. You can be as odd as you want. 2 fingers will be fine, though, Rev, of Sherry, that is. So rebel. Don't ask the bishop, because, Bishop's a monkey old tart. He'll give you definitely more than 1 bishop's finger. Evening all, Nicky Watson. Evening, Nicky. Welcome to the Body of the Kirk and Des Ashton and the Shades. And did you see Trudeau smirking about COVID deaths? I am going to mention that idiot. Useful idiot. Well, depends who's useful. I just want to talk about Davos in very general terms and specifics tonight, because it just feels like they're all jostling for position. And Trudeau, he was there with Katy Perry. I kissed a girl and liked it. And all the lads just stood and watched. Now, right, Katy, pet. I bet those bloody nuns, I've heard from Sister Mary and the three Austrians, you're not very friendly with nuns, are you? No. You put them in far too much, under far too much stress. So we know your type, and so does Russell Brand, although he has been charged via Zoom today. There is nothing better. Well, there is, Jägermeister. There's nothing better than ice-cold water. The new Sean Penn movie with Leo is awful. Could only do 10 minutes. Is that right, So Rebel? What's the movie called? Is that the one with one kick off too many, or what's it called again? We tried watching it, and we only lasted 20 minutes. But all these critiques are saying, "Oh, it's lovely, it's wonderful. Yes, it definitely needs an Oscar nomination." I was thinking, wow, I was watching the same thing. That's right, Stuart. That's very funny. Remember, Katy Perry, I kissed a girl and liked it. Cherry chapstick. She went up into space in a shuttlecock. She's just trying to be relevant. I mean, she goes to all these left-wing supporting events that I am aware of that I'm not going to talk about here. But she's one of the least, in my view, she's just, to be fair, I'd rather be kicked in the nuts with hobnail boots. That's how much I like Katy Perry. I don't even like fucking singing. I mean, Firework was right at the end of her vocal ability, but her and Justin Trudeau. What do you call a man with a small penis? Just in. So every time I see those two, I'm thinking, well, she's not getting any. That. It rearranges this well-known nautical expression, hand shite had away. Nice one, Des. So, I'll just tell you now. It's at the beginning because I want to get into all the El Trumpo stuff, and I just want to do that. And so, first of all, somebody that I respect highly has agreed to an interview for the channel. So that little announcement, I'm going to do the interview over the next week or so. I'm not going to give you any names, and the subject matter is it kind of sits lovely with the channel, with what we do and how we do it. It's not politics before you start, but it's very, very interesting, very interesting. So we have it in diary that it's going to happen. We just have to work around this particular person's schedule, and as I've said to you, I want to do more and more and more interviews, because that's just one of my skills from doing phone-ins that I want to bring to the channel. And I wanted to run a series on a Sunday morning, separate from the lives, separate from the videos, and do everything, because I just enjoy doing them. And I'm not particularly interested in fame per se, but I am interested in human stories the humanity of stories, and I'm interested in. It doesn't matter whether you're famous or not. If you've got a great story to tell, as we've had Ghetto Defendant and a few others, Philip Dehaney on the channel telling his story. That's what I'm after. I'm after stories. So that's what I'm going to bring. I see you says. What did I say? The cult of celebrity is over, and the stars cannot handle it. And oh, bless them. So I would rather. I mean, we've had some amazing stories in the chat that I haven't been able to follow through. But Trudeau, Fidel Castro's son. I've heard that one, Albert. Definitely. Because he does look like Fidel Castro. But maybe it's just a coincidence. But Katy Perry. Any news with the Jeremy Vine interview? Yeah, it's already completed. But as I say, I am talking to the people whose studio I used, because I wasn't very happy with them. They acknowledged the fact, and I'm still unsure as to whether to put the video out. It's got nothing to do with Jeremy. It's got nothing to do with me. The content is brilliant. What Jeremy talks about is wonderful and brilliant and very insightful. Just technically, it's not as good quality as I would like it to be. It is 4K, so it's high def, but just you'll see when you see the video. So I'm wanting to do a series of interviews, and then once I've completed the interviews, I'm just going to put them up as live, a bit like Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan obviously is edited, but I'm doing it as live. As if just in one take. I'm not going to do any editing unless it needs some stuff adding to it to make points. But so that's happening. There's a Dougie video coming tomorrow because he's back in court on Friday. If you don't know who Dougie is, Alex Belfield, he's back in court on Friday. So I'm going to do a video tomorrow explaining what he's in court for again. Oh, thank you, Stuart. Yeah, Janet Percival, of course. So Janet's not a celebrity. Janet was somebody who was doing a job and was trying to do the best thing by the victims. But some people don't like that. They just kind of skim over it. But I will tell you this. Wait till you see what I'm going to have in the video tomorrow. Can't say anything until the video. But it's a civil case, so I can do what I need to do. But I will give you kind of this heads up. He submitted in his paperwork that he would have won his case if his KC hadn't gone down with COVID. 4 guilty verdicts, and he said he would have won the case. So, video coming tomorrow, and just to kind of give you the heads up, you won't see this anywhere in the news, the newspapers, or anywhere. Because this is from my sources in Davos, that there's a fire somewhere in Davos right now, going on right now, because all the emergency services are running around Davos like a blue-ass fly, and it's blocked all the roads in central Davos. There's a couple of main arterial routes that run through Davos. One's Davos Platz, and Davos Platz was gridlocked because of the fire going on somewhere in Davos. I'll see what I can find out tomorrow, but you won't see that in the newspapers anywhere. You won't see that in the mainstream media. You definitely won't see that on the BBC. Jesus. So whatever it is, I'll try and find out for you. 147 Adam, thank you. Stephen Hall, I was just thinking about Dougie. Yeah. And I will find out on as soon as the case is closed. I will find out and be able to do a video for you. The Jim Davidson interview he did with Dougie is on YouTube. I watched it a few weeks ago. It's not great, Stuart, because I would say this to anyone. If you've been convicted ×4 stalking and harassment, then when you come out, and he came out at the trial, he told the judge, I'm one of the LGBTQ, CNN, BBC, ABC, alphabetically spaghetti people. And everybody went, what? And I laughed because I knew we didn't know whether he was Arthur or Martha. I mean, well, anyway, I don't need to talk about that, but I will say that as soon as I know on Friday exactly what's happening, whether it's delayed, but Dougie's trying to delay it. From what I understand, he's saying he's got some new evidence, so he needs more time. Really? I think they just need to go ahead. He was full of piss and vinegar about his sentence. Oh, absolutely, Stuart. But his sentence is his sentence. He was lucky that the judge might have made a minor mistake because he would have been doing 10 years inside and he wouldn't have gotten out for until he'd done 5. I mean, he's going to be insufferable by the time he does all of his sentence. But I will say this. By the time he does another 2 years, because he has to, then life is going to have changed completely. They're probably going to introduce aliens by the time he's allowed to come back on social media. Or a Bill or a Jill, that's correct. Theo Bovril. Oh, the hibiscus is just lovely and warm. Do you mind awfully? Stephen, thank you very much for your support, young sir. I do appreciate it always. Hang on. Great stuff, AA. Thank you, Steve. I'm so glad that you're enjoying it. So, what else do I want to talk about? So, roughly, the subjects tonight. I'll keep an eye on that emergency services. So, the fire in Davos. I hope it's not the Italian. Is it Palindrino's? I'm trying to think of the best Italian restaurant in. You can't get in Davos week. You've got to book like 6 months ahead. Hang on, let's go with that. Trump says framework of a future deal with NATO on Greenland agreed and drops tariff threat. What I'm also going to do tonight is I'm also going to give you some background to Greenland. Because do you want to know the last island that America bought? Because they keep buying up territories left, right, and centre. It was never always the United States of America, not as we know it, North America today. Oh, they've been buying it over the last couple of 100 years. But you want to know the last island that America bought? Little St. James. Little St. James. And you're saying, well, what's that? Epstein Island. So, Davidson, Tory boy, enough said. Correct, Bad Wolf Project. Look, I'll tell you this. Dougie is not right-wing. Dougie is not. He doesn't even believe what he says. And how do I know that? Because Janet Percival said that in the interview on this channel. He told her, out of his mouth to her ears, from her mouth to our ears. I mean, there is an old saying that you're only ever Donald Trump ends trade war. Right. It might pause for a second. Let me have a look. Yeah. I'll wait till it comes back. Oh, for crying out loud. Okay. Perfect. The old Bovril, Dougie is history. Now, yeah, I get that. He's still got 2 years to finish his sentence. No, it's just his sentence. He's yesterday's man. He's walking backwards into obscurity. And he's just trying to keep his profile up. I mean, he puts out emails. And I did think about doing videos about these. Well, technically, he's not supposed to email anyone. Or be on social media. Isn't that right, Dougie? 147 Adam says he's found his niche. A lot of them following the money, especially the ones that work on GB News. Yeah. Adrian, what's happening with the Fun Boy 3? I think that court case, obviously, Paulie, I can't talk about the details of the case, but I can in general terms. I think it's back in court late 2026. So even though Amalia Grassi, why? Has he put something on his channel? No, Amalia, he's back in court Friday. Stuart, you're quite right. He can't stay out of the public eye. He craves the attention. I get it. I feel sorry for him. Because in my view, knowing human beings as I do, having broadcast to them for well over 50 years, there's issues there. And any psychiatrist will tell you, because we have had a psychiatric analysis put on this channel. Oh, are you only just popping in, Amalia? Well, welcome this evening. I hope you catch up tomorrow, because there's lots of interesting things going to go on. So let me get stuck in rather than be distracted by somebody I shouldn't be distracted by. Tonight we're going to talk the Beckhams. We're going to talk King of the World, Trump in Davos. We might get to Prince Harry and we might get to Russell Brand. So let me, he said, too many people to deserve pity. Correct, Les? I'm with you. Late 2026, not exactly fast-tracked like innocent people. Correct, Dolby 67. But it's going to come out in court. Why would they, the Fun Boy 3, do what they did? It's going to come out in court. Bit like Dougie. The truth will out. So tonight, the live number 284 isn't about the headlines per se. It's about what's being amplified, what's being softened. And as you know, by the subject matters that we're talking about, it's what's being quietly buried. And I want you to listen tonight, because I'm feeling my way through this, because I know you feel it. There's something not quite right going on. I mean, I know the last 5 years has been, well, it's just been mad. Mutually assured destruction, seemingly mad. And so I don't know whether you saw the Trump presser last night, press conference. Don't know whether you saw the Trump presser last night. It was just weird. Oh, here's all the stuff that I've done really well. Yeah, it's the anniversary of the first anniversary of the first anniversary. I've been back in power for a year, and it's all a bit. And I was looking at him thinking, well, I know he don't do drugs. I know he don't drink. Sniffing the barmaid's apron, maybe. Or has somebody given him an hibiscus and it's they've spiked it with a Jaeger bomb? So there's a really odd feeling. As I say, tonight what we're going to talk about, not necessarily the headlines, but we're going to talk about what's being amplified. We're going to talk about what's being softened around the edges and what's being quietly buried, because there is, I mean, Starmer today, I am going to get to him, but I mean, I was watching him and it was almost as if he was going to burst into tears. Obviously he wouldn't, because he's a robot. He hasn't got emotions. But I just thought, you're not very happy, are you? He's not going to Davos, the World Economic Forum, the world's most powerful people gather under the banner of, well, you know, this year, the banner is here, well, dialogue. Yet behind the scenes, communications are tightened, signals controlled, and silence enforced as Donald Trump arrives, not as a delegate, but I would suggest to you, as disruption. Meanwhile, the media floods the front pages with the Beckham family rupture, schism, if you want, a deeply human story of parents, adult children, marriages, loyalty, and boundaries. But if you strip away the fame, and it's the most relatable story in the country at the moment, let me couch it like this: family as love, family as pressure, family as Brand Beckham. And I do want to talk about David and Victoria, because I think the curtain is being lifted on those two. And then there's the story that's being pushed halfway down the papers. Russell Brand. Are you aware of that? Russell Brand formally charged with further sexual offence allegations via remote court appearance after leaving the UK. Why did he leave the UK? So he went to court. So he legged it to America, came back to Southwark Crown Court, I think, and is back in America again. Now, I will say this. The process of law, guilt or innocence, is for the courts to determine, not for me, and I'm not going to opine. I'm not going to give an opinion on that. But the silence around the scale of the case is itself a story worth examining. So if we get time, we will do that this evening. And we'll also step back from the heat with a short reflection on film and storytelling, because it was interesting how you responded on Sunday when I talked about films. Because cinema has always been where societies safely explore truth before they're ready to face it in real life. So tonight's live isn't about taking sides. It's about recognizing patterns. So welcome to the gathering at the body of the Kirk. So Trump war at Davos today. Brand says he's born again. Have you seen his wife fronts? I mean, oh, I see you. Yeah, Dolby67 says exterminate. Sob. Well, he's definitely a former prime minister coming up, because Trump knows. So on, where are we, Wednesday? On Monday, I talked about the Five Eyes intelligence. Five intelligence. They're all English-based. It's America, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, and the UK, MI5 and MI6, CIA and FBI. And the Five Eyes, they may split, because it looks like Canada under Mark Carney are Johnny Big Bollocks. So Mark Carney is in Davos. Trump's in Davos. Mark Carney thinks he's the king of the world. Well, he's not. Trump is. And Trump fired a shot across Mark Carney's bow today in his speech, which was a little rambling. As I say, he gave a speech last night. None of the, on the campaign trail, when he was like, yo, he was sharp. He was, he could just hold a crowd of hundreds of thousands. And yet he's being told, I believe there's a touch of dyslexia there with the Donald, which is what is making me even more nervous. Because remember when he was here and had the royal dinner with the King and the Queen and Prince William and Princess Catherine? They had to shuffle him into a place where he wouldn't take 3 hours to give a speech. I get it, Vic's text. I'm not. This is absolutely not a criticism of him, but we had a president. The last president would shit his trousers, would shit his pants in public. He would shit his pants. I mean, maybe Brigitte threatened to slug him in the face, but the dude is almost 80 years old. I know, and still playing 5D chess, and still more adept at speaking, at controlling the world, and doing the best for the American people. If only we had a world where the leaders weren't attacking each other, but they were actually doing the best for the people that they're supposed to be leading. So, America had a president, a black president, who got the Nobel Peace Prize. But if you actually look at what he did, the detail of what he did, he was one of the most gung-ho warmongers on the planet. He was killing loads of people. And if you look at the previous Democratic presidents, whether it's Clinton or any of the other presidents from Reagan onwards, have you ever seen the film 13? It's business. Putting black people in prison. It's just business. And the amount of a particular community in America that exponentially has just exploded going to jail. Nobody's talking about that. The film 13 is so powerful. And I watched that 5 years ago. Sir Andrew James, Biden, my butt's been wiped. Yeah, wrong colour, Joe. President Shitty Pants. So I don't know whether you've seen any of the reportage, and I watched it live so that you didn't have to, because I was just fascinated by what was that presser last night. What was that? What was it about? And look, I've done a million press conferences. I've reported on them. I've written for the press. I've been a journalist, citizen journalist, not one. Please don't say that I went to university and studied journalism. I'd have been shite, man. But I know how it works. I've done PR. I did PR in London for a few years. But when I saw the presser and Trump, I thought, there's something going on here. Andy B, evening, Reverend All. We'll be listening on Catchy. Thanks for all you're doing. Cheers, Andy. Really appreciate it, young sir. And he did this presser, and it was just... So I'd been wanting Trump like a gunslinger, like John Wayne or Clint Eastwood in The Good and the Bad and the Ugly. I can't whistle. I can't sing either. So Clint Eastwood, and I was like, cigar on, hat on, gunslinger walks into town. Howdy, folk. How you doing? The name's Donald Trump. 6-shooter on either hip, and he's coming into town and he's sorting all the baddies out. And I thought, what the actual? There was no sign of conquest. Him moseying into town today. I would suggest there's a new phrase for this. It was leverage theatre. And now we're being told, because I know what will be happening. So the press was saying he was at the Cresta Hotel. I'm telling you, there's every chance, because I haven't seen this. I've got no confirmation or corroboration, but the last time he was in Davos, he stayed at the Alpengold Hotel. Go and have a look at it on any of the booking sites, hotel.com and lastminute.com. If you wanted, I tried to book a hotel room and suite this week in Davos, see if I could get in at £1,000 a night. No, booked up, full. But next week, whoosh, you'd be lucky. But the Donald is not going to be wandering around Davos at 11 o'clock at night going, oh, well, lads, we're going to go find a bar. Let's go to the Hammer and Nail bar. Or shall we go to Palindrino's? Let's go to Palindrino's. Brilliant pizzas. So the Donald didn't ride into Davos as like Clint Eastwood or a John Wayne. He kind of arrived as the estate agent of empire. No boots, no blood, no cigar on, no jaunty hat, and no 6-shooter on each hip. Just contracts, tariffs, and a raised eyebrow. So you've got the Donald riding into town, and I'm like, oh, yeah, man, let's start. It's going to kick off. The good guy, Clint Eastwood, the good and the bad and the ugly, he's going to come on outside, yeah, wrong, and let's just step outside. Bring 20 of your mates with you, put your guns down and your spurs, and I'm nearly 80-year-old, man. I'll just get one of me retinue to sort it out. Your best fighter, my best fighter, I'll win. I mean, it wasn't John Wayne or Clint Eastwood. It was more Kenneth Williams or Charles Hawtrey. Oh, I say. I mean, Greenland wasn't even a battlefield. The Germans had sent 15 Germans to Greenland just in case the Donald had decided he was going to, I'm going to plant me flag in the middle of this ice in Greenland and I'm going to take over. It was It was nothing. I mean, you notice after he finished talking, the crowd didn't cheer because they weren't meant to. It wasn't a rally. It was a message aimed past the room that he was talking to, straight at capitals, markets, ministries, the body of the kirk, the theatre of the mind. And you see, that's the tell. To use CID parlance, that's the tell. It's something that you do naturally that gives them the clue that you're lying. So when power stops shouting and starts itemizing, you're not watching weakness, you're watching phase 2. So I can confirm that the professional politicians, Rich Boy Sunak was there. He's working for, so he was prime minister of this country, and as his pension, he gets his prime ministerial wage as his pension for the rest of his life. Now, his missus is a billionaire. Well, her dad is a multi-billionaire. So she's kind of a billionaire, and he and her have a wealth of about £800 million. But he's working for Goldman Sachs and Microsoft and Anthropic AI. I mean, he's got his head so far up the World Economic Forum's derriere, he'll deepen his tan. Was it going to be United States of America versus Greenland? No! The Donald. Ooh, I say. If only I could do a Kenneth Williams impersonation, or a Charles Hawtrey for that matter. So let me tell you about Greenland and America, because America today is not the America it was 250 years ago, because they're going to celebrate in 2026. So this is how Les Griffith says, we're watching a scripted movie. I completely agree, Les. Forensic accounting. I know Vix text. Can you imagine? I mean, that's why they put Doge in place, to find out where all the corruption was. And everybody didn't realize what Doge was going to do until they uncovered the tens and not hundreds of billions of dollars worth of corruption. Greenland is not green, says Tom Harney's. I know, it's covered in ice. So this is how America became America. And it's only 200 years, 220 years. The United States, because there was only a little bit on the kind of southeast border of what is now the United States, that became the United States. But in 1803, the United States purchased Louisiana. In 1867, the United States purchased Alaska from the Russians, because the Bering Strait technically freezes over, I'm sure. So Russia and Alaska become one because they're joined by the ice. And then in 1917, the United States purchased the Virgin Islands. Why did they purchase the Virgin Islands? Because they were struggling to find a virgin in America. In 1867, the United States under President Johnson came close to finalizing a deal to purchase Greenland from Denmark. But the idea came to naught because of post-Civil War politics. In 1910, the United States under President Taft had diplomatic discussions with Denmark to purchase Greenland. However, the offer wasn't really firm. You've just got to always make sure it's firm before you proceed. So the deal didn't go past initial talks. And in 1945, only, 75, 80 years ago, the United States under President Truman had its most significant attempt to purchase Greenland. Denmark rejected the offer. And in 1955, the United States under President Eisenhower tried to purchase Greenland, but no formal offer was ever made. It was never firmed up again. Should have got Bonnie Blue on the case. Or Dolly Parton, who was 80 this week. Both of her. In fact, she was 80. The other two, I think they're only about 20-year-old. I think you have to have them changed every 10 years or so. You see, Trump's offer to buy Greenland is, yes, of course it's outrageous. Because that offer is forwarded by Trump. So you see, over the last couple of hundred years, Greenland, and Trump was saying in his speech last night and today, look, we saved you. We won World War II. I bet you bloody didn't. Putting your pilots on speed just so they can go and shoot them up, thinking it's a video game. I think you'll find it was a combination of the Russians and the Brits and a little bit of the Americans who got into World War II to make a few bob. Because the Americans always see every crisis as having an opportunity to make money, the Benjamins. So they're trying to buy Greenland, and I'll guarantee you, keep an eye open for the price of $700 billion. And the Americans will pay it, because they're $37 trillion in debt. So the Donald today didn't land like Clint Eastwood strolling into town with a cigar and a destiny. It landed more like the gunslinger giving a long speech about why the town should thank him for wanting to buy the saloon, and then occasionally calling the saloon Greenland. So has there been a worldwide reaction? What people are actually saying this afternoon? We won't talk Starmer just yet. So let's work on layers. Let's work on the political layer first. And I'll get to the European leaders. Ursula von der Leyen, bitch. She's there gobbing off. And it's, I would say Davos and the conference centre certainly has had a bit of a makeover. And I've been to the website, the World Economic Forum website, where you can become a member, me and you, member, 30 quid each per month for a year. But if you're a pro, as in the taxpayers will pay it of your particular country, then it's £1,000 a year. And you don't get much more than the 30 quid a month. But under Klaus, they never did that. Klaus Schwab, he was God. He was king of the world. And now that Klaus has gone, for whatever he did, I know what he did. I can't tell you here. That right, Klaus? They're saying it's racism, Klaus. Is that true? Don't like the Germans, the Germanics, being racist? I don't think it was racism at all, was it, Klaus? So you've got everybody making their way to Davos. And we had confirmation today of who the next Prime Minister of Great Britain is going to be. I made this prediction for you last, August, September, just before the Labour Party conference. I told you that this year, 2026, Starmer would not be Prime Minister of this country. And I do believe that will happen. How can I lay my informed wager at that? Because he's not in Davos. He's not been invited to Davos. He's not the power brokers, the leaders in the World Economic Forum knows he's a busted flush. He's finished. He's over. He's done. So why would he go with the power players? I mean, even Macron, who's only got a couple of months left, turned up wearing his shades and said, I've got a problem with one of my eyes. It's an accident. What, Brigitte clumped you again? Take that, you tart. Get off this fucking plane. Don't you argue with me, you little shit. Fuck off. Brigitte, the cameras are on us. Oh, sorry. Manners, lady. So he said, I've got a problem with my eyes. I see you says they're going to take the tuck shop keys off him. Like what someone said a few minutes ago, like a scripted movie. It is, Stuart. It is. Unless, as instead of asking why America wants to buy Greenland, we should perhaps be asking why the EU WEF don't want him to. Because so on the one hand, it's my belief that Ursula von der Leyen, who's never been elected by anybody, no voters, nobody's voted for her. She's just got herself in pole position to dictate her. No wonder she's got 7 kids if she likes dictators. Mr. Macron. Paulie Galtieri. You may say that, but I can't possibly comment. Mr. Macron spunked in his eye. So the Paulie, you do make me laugh. So I'll make this prediction for you. And this is how I know. Before Starmer became president of Great Britain, I'm taking the mickey by using that. He was fated by the power in Davos. He was fated. He was going to be the new bright thing, like Trudeau and Ardern in New Zealand and all of the 4,000 little puppets around the political world worldwide that Klaus Schwab was pulling the strings on. All those freebies, fated. So long as he did as he was told, and as I've said to you before many times, what do they have on Starmer that makes him jump through hoops every single time they tell him to? So why am I telling you this? So my prediction is this. He's done, finished, over. Everybody's been saying it. I was the first. But this is why I know him to be finished. He's not fated. He's not at Davos. And remember, Emily Maitlis did the interview with him. And she said, Davos or Westminster? And he said, Davos. And she said, why? He said, because Westminster is too constrained. And he's not left Westminster. So there's a couple of things. One, if he was in Davos when some shit goes down tomorrow, it will be dereliction of duty in many people's eyes. So why is he staying home to deal with what? We'll find out. Because today he let slip saying, oh, the usual Thursday defection. What does he know that he's not telling us? But it's not necessarily what Starmer's doing. It's who's in Davos. So Rachel Reeves, she's heading up the Brits that have gone to Davos, because there's a team of them. Seemingly she's name in the frame. But I've told you this before. When she was doing that press conference at 8 o'clock on a Tuesday morning, she was vying for who was going to be Prime Minister next. And Rachel Reeves, I will guarantee you, just from my observations and decoding the patterns and what's going on, Rachel Reeves wants to be the first female Labour Prime Minister. She'll go down in history. Look at all the fuss and brouhaha she made about being the first female Chancellor. But who else is in Davos? It's a name that even the reporters from the BBC were shocked at today. Because normally she would have been at PMQs. Not Shabana Mahmood, no. Although she's kind of an outsider, dark horse in the race. And I made this prediction last year, summer of last year, that when they get rid of Starmer, they need to give the running of the country to a safe pair of hands. Who will that safe pair of hands be? Yvette Cooper. Yvette Cooper is not on the speakers list, and the BBC told us today while they let it slip, because it was live. Yvette Cooper is in Davos. What would she be in Davos for? Because here's the prediction. Starmer's going to resign. When Labour get absolutely eviscerated in the local elections, even though they'll try and stop them so nobody can flatten them and tell them they're a has-been political party, he'll resign. They'll put a safe pair of hands. She's Foreign Secretary. She knows all of the major leaders around the world, and she's in Davos this year. They only ever go to Davos when they're being feted, when they're being courted, when they're being invited to all of these meals and glad hand all of the other power players from around the world. including the Chinese Communist Party. Russian, they used to go, not so much now. And Trump and his entourage, whether it's Steve Witkoff or Mark Rubio or any of the other administration bodies, but Yvette Cooper. Was it last minute? And if it was last minute, who invited her? So this is the process. Starmer's going to resign. He's not going to get sacked. He'll resign. And if you looked at him at PMQs today, he looked like a man defeated. He knows what's coming in a month or two's time, certainly in May, by the end of May. So he'll be gone. The country will heave a sigh of relief. Yvette Cooper, because she's in with the power players in Davos now, she will be put in, safe pair of hands. Then Andy Burnham will become an MP after May, once Starmer's gone. So he doesn't have the state machinery behind him. Andy Burnham will become an MP. And then in September, at the Labour Party conference, he will be announced as the new Labour Party leader, because they still have 2 and a bit years to get the country turned around. Now, Farage is in Davos tomorrow. He's actually making a speech tomorrow, not at the conference centre as such, but just at one of the other, I don't know, I think it's America House, where he's making which is on Davos Platz. And I think that the Americans and Trump have taken over a church and done it out. So America House is where everything American happens. Rachel Reeves gave a speech, according to one of the newspapers today, at Bloomberg House yesterday afternoon. But it was kind of mentioned in dispatches, but no real detail. So it's all behind closed doors. But the European leaders, Ursula von der Leyen, bitch, and Emmanuel Macron, have just been slugged by Brigitte on the plane again. The mood is from them, the European leaders, we're not bending the knee. It literally is the sharpest public pushback. That came from Macron. He framed it as bullying, Trump wanting Greenland, and warning that Europe shouldn't give in to coercion. And EU retaliation tools openly discussed. Now, in the media, the kind of pundits and the observers, the Greenland obsession has hijacked the whole moment. Even when Trump tried to talk economy, the headline became Greenland plus tariff leverage plus NATO pressure. That was in his speech. But why would they do that? So you're going to need to get your fastest finger on the button, because I'm now going to start asking you questions. Because that's what we do on these lives. It's interactive. So you can kind of read the room now, where we know that Starmer's gone, Yvette Cooper's going to be, and you're probably thinking, well, hang on a second, you're putting your neck out there, Adrian. But I always make predictions, because it's easy to read. It's just a pattern. This is what the Labour Party need. They need a female prime minister. Starmer was only ever in power to get them into power as prime minister. And now they just want rid of him because he's toxic and he's a liability. He'll be punted off to the House of Lords just to be got rid of, because he's being found out. So if you've seen the speech today, and I will continue on sort of decoding it, 1 for yes, 2 for no, 3 for I don't know. So Davos, if Davos is just a talking shop, why does it need such tight control when certain figures arrive? But that's not my question. My question is this. Do you believe Trump is losing it? 1 for yes, 2 for no, 3 for I don't know. Is Trump losing it? If you watched the presser last night and you saw his speech today, because it'll be interesting. So Kaz and Subated and the old Bovril. No, well, interesting, really interesting. Peter Rees-Jones and Catwoman Jones and Will Holmes and Stuart and Davy Bevan. Rich won. His speech seemed rambling, both last night and today. So Andrew James makes a very good point, though. Not losing it, but he looks exhausted. Dodzer, everybody else is saying no. So Les Griffiths, and it's all about snacks. Karina, Matt Whedon, 147 Adam, the U Bovril, Enigma Blue, Garen Davis, Nathan Diamond, Lionel are all saying no. Enver, Tom Harney's and Fatal Racing Driver are unsure. Doxy, no. Gribbo, Lewis, Elliott. It's a real mixed bag, but there's more no's than yeses, and a couple of I don't know. So it's kind of one of those to watch for the moment. Let me have a look. So Andrew James again makes a very good point. He's fighting a one-man battle. And Mad Matt UK, as Vic's text said earlier, he's not a young guy anymore. I mean, if he did in his first term what he's doing now, and he had 4, 6, 8 years of youthfulness in him. Les Griffiths, Frozen. Yeah. So, and I'm going to ask sort of an addendum to that question. So it's 1 for yes, 2 for no, 3 for I don't know. And I kind of watch all this just to see what's going on. But were you paying any attention to Westminster today? 1 for yes, 2 for no, 3 for I don't know. Were you paying any attention to Westminster today? Rich says, was listening to him live. He seemed tired. However, Air Force One did have to return due to an electrical fault. And Stuart says, he is 80 after all. Les Griffith says, Theo, we don't want Farage. We'll talk about that a little bit later. So were you paying any attention whatsoever to Westminster today? 1 for yes, 2 for no, 3 for I don't know. 147 Adam, I never watch it. But everybody is saying no. No adrenochrome for our Trump, says Lewis. Davy Bevan and Charlie Barton and the All Bovril and Matt Whedon and Gribbo and Nicky Watson, Rich, Mad Matt UK, Lewis, Fatal Racing Driver, I see you, Stuart, Enigma Blue, Garen Davis. I mean, virtually, apart from the odd 1 or 2, everybody's saying no. Karina, That Hurt, Tom Harney's, Peter Rees-Jones, Nathan Diamond. Sir Andrew James says, I watch parts on YouTube. Super Ted, like a lot of people, at work all day. So it's interesting that when Trump is the story, and he virtually is all the time, people just watch the story. They don't pay any attention to what Starmer was talking about. But as I say, I watched him at PMQs while I was waiting for Trump to land in Zurich. And Starmer just came across as a man defeated. He knows he's done. He knows he's finished. It's now just how long he stays in power. So there's the energy critique. Some people saying, River Queen, Trump is just fine. Trump 2028, bloody hell. Well, I can't think of any alternative, says the U Bovril, and Thatcher is dead. Because I think it was a BBC reporter while I was watching it live called Trump low energy Trump. And Reuters describes audience engagement fading during the hour-long address. Or can you imagine? The power brokers. Oh, get on with it. I mean, I'm surprised they didn't start chucking rotten tomatoes. Do you know, in Davos, and it's the only place I've ever found this, they do coloured hard-boiled eggs. So the shell has like a marbling effect on it. I don't know how they do it. A marbling effect on it. And the eggs inside are different colours. The whites, certainly. I love them. But it's the only place on planet Earth I've ever found them. Maybe it's a Swiss thing, not sure. Have you tried Toblerone? Brr, brr. So Reuters described the audience engagement fading, with the Greenland-Iceland confusion not exactly helping the room's attention span. The markets, though, the money men, brief relief, then the long stare. No force calmed the most explosive scenario, but the tariff coercion angle still spooked sentiment. The FTSE dip tied to the Greenland tariff threats. So it wasn't John Wayne. It was John Wayne reading a property brochure, then threatening the post office if the brochure isn't signed. So on the ground in Davos, what's hitting the wires? Well, the chatter amongst the delegates, from what I'm being told, it's dominated by Greenland, obviously. Not the usual Davos greatest hits, AI panels, ESG slogans, and expensive hot chocolate, because bloody Switzerland's very expensive. Even live Davos coverage frames day-to-day talk as Greenland fallout. It's the only story in town. Well, Trump and Greenland. As I say, last year there were protests in Davos. There are some protests going on as I speak in Switzerland. Demonstrations flared around Trump and WEF. They're all just symbolic. But it adds to the "this is not normal Davos" atmosphere. So, what happens to Greenland now if there's no boots on the ground? So if we take Trump's Davos line at face value, no force, no boots on the ground, immediate negotiations. And it looks like from the alerts that I've had come through that this immediate negotiations have been immediate, and they're moving at pace. There is heavy emphasis on only we, that's Trump and America, can secure it. Then the likely path is going to be a sovereignty workaround, the more American presence deal. That's Denmark and Greenland leaning into expanded US basing, radar, Arctic security, cooperation, airfield access, everything except the flag swap from Denmark to America. And Reuters, they note proposals to boost US presence without any kind of sovereignty transfer. There may be some economic leverage as the tariffs, investment, rare earths, weapon is dangled or waved in front of the face of the collective Denmark nation. There's coercion. There's a coercion threat that sits in the background even when Trump says peaceful. Markets and the European leaders are reacting to that leverage posture, not to an imminent invasion. So there's no boots on the ground. So all it is just hot air. Jaw, not war. Maybe a longer standoff with periodic flare-ups, because Europe, all they're trying to do is they're trying to remain relevant. But they're not. They're just full of shite, said a spokesperson. Now, after Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney's comments in Beijing last week, so I'm going to ask you this question. Well, not a question as such, but Mark Carney, he's a WEF puppet. And I've told you that the World Economic Forum, it's Chinese Communist Party mission creep. That's all it is. It's the Chinese Communist Party wanting to take over. But I told you last year that Xi Jinping is not very well. So Mark Carney met with his deputy in Beijing. And if you've seen the speech that Mark Carney gave, Mark Carney called it the New World Order. And he's now gone on stage at Davos to instruct the world on how to do that. So is he leading the left now that Starmer is a busted flush, a defeated man? Because he was the one that was leading the Coalition of the Willing, or the Council of the Willing, whatever they call it, which is bullshit. So Mark Carney began his speech by saying that we are reminded, and I quote, that the rules-based order is fading, that the strong can do what they can, and the weak must suffer what they must. He said countries And again, I'm quoting, hope that compliance will buy safety. Well, it won't. I think he quoted, wasn't it that Czech dissident Václav Havel's essay called The Power of the Powerless, whereby the communist system's power did not come from its truth, but from everyone's willingness to perform as if it were true. Very 1984 and Orwell. So in Václav Havel's essay, the shopkeeper placed a sign in his window every morning, "Workers of the world, unite." All other shopkeepers did exactly the same. Now, whilst none of them believed the sign, they placed it in their windows anyway to avoid trouble. This signalled compliance, and as a result, every ordinary person who walked past a shop participated in a ritual that they knew was false. They simply kept the communist system alive. Carney called on his allies. Friends, it is time for companies and countries to take their signs down. He said that this will begin to crack the illusion about American hegemony. This bargain no longer works. Let me be direct. We are in the midst of a rupture, not a transition. Talking of trannies. So all eyes were on Davos today, completely. Katy Perry and little Justin, Rachel Reeves, Yvette Cooper, no Starmer, no one else. There's my prediction. Just decode it. It's just decoding the patterns. Why would Yvette Cooper be in Davos when Rachel Reeves is already in Davos with a United Kingdom bunch of delegates? There was no need for Yvette Cooper to go there. Only if she was there to be told, you're a safe pair of hands, we want you to take care of things for 6 months whilst we put a new Prime Minister in place. And that might take a while. Manchester Mafia. So live on the BBC, we had Rachel Reeves doing the rounds, Ed Miliband doing the rounds. We had Mark Carney doing the rounds, sort of. David Miliband is also, Ed's brother, is also in Davos. And Carney was simply talking about finance and health and geopolitics and energy, all in transition, all in flux, not integration. Because when integration becomes the source of your insubordination, meaning we're not allowed to say, stop the boats, stop the dinghies, stop the influx. We're not allowed to. When integration becomes the source of your insubordination, we're fighting the World Economic Forum when we say, oi, how do we? I would suggest that Mark Carney is a Manchurian candidate. He's operating, I mean, ask the Canadian people. They're not very happy at the moment. They were never happy with Trudeau. They're not going to be happy with Carney because they're out of the same pea pod. But he's working on behalf of the Chinese Communist Party. So was he in Beijing to negotiate trade? And if he was, show us the balance books, show us the paper, show the world that you were there for trade, when actually he could be the leader of the gang. He's the Manchurian candidate. He's doing the bidding on behalf of the Chinese Communist Party. The evil is red. The evil is over there in China. I mean, there was Trump today calling the climate hoax created by the World Economic Forum losers. And today Trump called them out to their faces. Now, it wasn't dynamic. It wasn't Clint Eastwood. It wasn't John Wayne. And he said, Trump today, the United States avoided the catastrophic energy collapse which failed every European nation that pursued the Green New Scam. Perhaps the greatest hoax in history. There you go. It's now breaking on GB News. Davos evacuated as firefighters deal with a fire. I told you that over an hour ago. And I'd known for 90 minutes before I came on air. So it's hitting the wires now. because that is a big story in Davos. Matthew Whedon says, I enjoyed every moment of Trump's speech. Not as dynamic as normal. He didn't use his hands. He was just reading from the teleprompters. I mean, he's still the man, because the left are just evil. Chinese Communist Party and the Fabians, they're all evil. They're just after power. And as I made reference earlier, Putin, Blair, Netanyahu, I think Trump invited Putin, Netanyahu asked to be on there, and Blair, I mean, Jesus Christ, he hangs around like a bad smell. The three of them are now on the Peace Council for Gaza. Now, you know why Netanyahu's there. While he's a war prime minister, he's never going to be taken to court. Doesn't have to be pardoned. Blair, Putin, I'll have the oil, thank you. So I'm going to get to the Beckhams in a moment, but I want to there was something else I wanted to talk to you about. So last night's presser was weird. Matthew Whedon said he enjoyed Trump's speech today, but have you seen any of the coverage? Now, I'm doing this live, so I don't know what has actually been put out into the mainstream media and how the BBC are editing it. But it just all feels odd. It's not him, not his mannerisms, his drive. I don't know what it is, but it just feels off. Even his hair is odd nowadays. And I watched it all day. I knew roughly when he was going to land. I knew the timings. He was going to get there sometime between 1 and 4, but they were keeping it loose in Davos. And there was lots of chitter-chatter going around the town that he was on his way. Everybody in Davos knew that the Air Force One had done a full 180 about an hour into the flight. But I watched it all day. And I don't know whether it was because of my expectations of him going in and reading the riot act to the numpties, the idiots. But he felt low energy today. And reading from a teleprompter, a man that could talk to hundreds of thousands of people on rallies without a script, without anything, without a prompt. Now, I asked a friend and said, was that an actor? Look, the last president, you can laugh as much as you want, but the last president, I mean, everybody knew it wasn't him. It wasn't Joe Brown Trousers, because there was too many people wearing masks. That's why I ask about the hair. If you look at the hair, it's like, oh, hang on a second, what's going on there? And my friend said to me, you are aware that he does have body doubles. 2 of them have been assassinated. And my friend said, look, there's been rumours of him being ill, but he recently passed a medical and a cognitive test with flying colours. And everybody's turning their attention to the Q posts. And my friend said, look, I've followed the Q posts since the beginning. And at the beginning, I was trying very hard to debunk them. And seeing what is happening now, I am of the firm opinion that the real Trump is being isolated, protected by Marines. The secret war, because you know when people are talking about World War III, and I say we're in the middle of it, and people go, it's not World War III, because World War III is not the same as World War II, which wasn't the same as World War I. World War I, we were in the trenches. World War II wasn't back in the trenches per se. Navies, Air Force. World War I, we didn't even have any aeroplanes. And World War III, it's online. It's in your computers and your phones and your iPads. So when the hammer drops, when the Insurrection Act is announced, look at QX for his final message before the mass arrests. And he said today that he was going to, the arrests were going to start. And we know who the arrests are. The Clintons, the Obamas, Bathhouse Barry and Big Mike. And I quote from Trump, "My fellow Americans, the storm is upon us." Checkmate. So even though some people enjoyed the speech, some people were expecting more, he can only do what he can only do in the moment. And if the White House has prepared his speech for the congregated, he can only do. He's kind of running the game, but it might be that he is tired. He is, because he doesn't sleep. He only has about 4.5 hours, 5 at a maximum hours sleep a night. Same as Thatcher. Thatcher only did 4 or 5 hours at the most. So tonight, what's confirmed versus what's vibes? Trump was in Zurich, then into Davos, timing of which was he landed in Zurich about 1 o'clock, which I expected. After the delays and switching aircraft, then about 20 past 12 our time, 20 past 1 his time, Central European time, he got into Davos just 2 o'clock. And as I said to you on these lives, having done the train journey from Zurich up into Davos quite a few times, it's the drive is 2.25 hours on a good day. The fire that is now firefighters are dealing with, emergency services are dealing with, and if it's serious, like sadly the bar fire in somewhere else in Switzerland, then it will be front page of the newspapers tomorrow. And if it's not, if it's just, it's a nothing, hopefully everyone's safe, and it's just the property that's been damaged, then it won't be. They'll just cover it up. So the timing of the Donald arriving was as it should be. But remember, he's king of the world. So they can't have any ne'er-do-wells taking pot shots at him. And the reason why he's at the Alpen Gold Hotel in Davos, it's in the middle of, it's kind of away from the main drags in the town. There's plenty of space for helicopters to land, for emergency egress, getting him out there if anything should happen. But I will tell you that whilst, and I said this to you last week, whilst the World Economic Forum is ongoing in Davos, the Swiss army is in there. And Switzerland has formal airspace restrictions around Davos for this meeting. Aviation authorities publish specific operating rules for 10 days or so, few days before, few days after. So there's tight airspace control, drone restrictions, controlled access, comms management in sensitive zones, certainly around the Alpen Gold Hotel, and there's heavy security, heavy security all around Davos. So they're running Davos like a sealed jar. Air access, because the stakes are high. Franz Ferdinand kicked off World War I. Can you imagine if anything unfortunate happened to a ruler in Davos? So the John Wayne entrance, it was more managed. Hang on, let me just get to some of your comments, because I just want to see what the zeitgeist is. Remember the old sandwich board man saying the end is nigh? I think Billboard Chris, who we've had on the channel, I think he's in Davos. He did say that he was going to be in Davos. The U-Bovril, they will have to move Davos over to Brighton. Weather's better. Sorry, Rich, what's NOTAMs? They are public information. Yeah, the skiing's definitely poor, the U-Bovril. Well, I did think about that, Stuart. Trump could have been jet lagged. I mean, look at us when we fly back from America and we get here and our body clock's all over the place. But they did it with Biden. No wonder he was shitting himself. They did it with Biden. Just kind of giving him a little pep in his coffee on the morning just to keep him going, and an ice cream at lunchtime. Hang on, what's Des said? Cheyenne Mountain. Sorry, Les, don't know what that means. Arrests are one thing. If the US judicial system is corrupt, he is hamstrung. That's why he doesn't want the midterms. The midterms are at the back end of the year, aren't they? Because they're not going to be the midterms after a year. So it's going to be at the back end of the year. So midterms are going to be after 2 years. Lauren Taylor says, Les, yep, and have been for years. The lockdown wasn't the start. It was the beginning of the end game. Very good, Lauren. Stuart, it was reported a while ago that the bruising on his hands was due to him taking too much aspirin. Yeah, he's just... Des Ashton, we're off to see the wizard, the man behind the curtain. Yeah, it's just that, yes, he is an old boy, but intellectually, his mind is still razor sharp. He's still playing 5D chess, and he's still a country mile ahead of most of the world's rulers. And Rich says he's under fire from all directions. It must be wearing him down. So it's all, yeah, some other people, thank you, Super Ted, are saying jet lag. Stuart saying jet lag. Or Andrew James has a good point, lack of vitamin D, certainly in winter. 2 fires in Davos, one at a hotel, one at the Congress Centre. Jesus, Enver. So a journey that normally would take 60 seconds on Davos Platz was taking half an hour. It's gridlocked. Nobody can get moved around. And if there's 2 fires on the day that Trump goes there, they're filthy, the left. Filthy. They can't handle it because they're evil. Adrenochrome. Frazzled.rip. And again, talking about frazzled.rip, it's interesting that... Right, I'm going to tell you what that is. If you are of a nervous disposition or a weak stomach, I suggest you leave the live now and come back to the one on Sunday. But I'm going to tell you what frazzled.rip is. It was Anthony Weiner's laptop. And I won't go into exactly the whys of why he had it on his laptop, but it's a video that I've seen involving people. One, everybody knows, Hillary Clinton. And there's a child. And it has its face, cut off with a scalpel. And then Clinton takes the face, puts it on hers, and then looks at the child while the child is screaming an unearthly scream. You probably can't find it. You can on the dark web, but I don't suggest you go searching. And that's why Hillary and her husband, William Jefferson, are being called in for questions. And they're refusing. Because they know that they've given all the information they can, but everybody knows now. And it's interesting that this is what frustrates me about social media. When, so it's frazzled, the word frazzled.rip. Not frazzled rip, frazzled.rip. And people are calling it frazzle drip. Easy mistake to make. But I know that people are putting stuff out on social media, and what is happening is they're just repeating it, sheeple, repeating it verbatim, thinking that's accurate. And it's not. Now, I've got a really cast iron stomach. Nothing affects me. But it's a tough watch. So if you need to go and watch that, do it. You'll find it under frazzled.rip. Just don't listen to these and do your own research. I'm not telling you what to think, and I'm not telling you how to make your mind up. But it's almost like an apocryphal story. There's evil in this world. And they're coming from the left. Mind you, Edward Heath, don't ask what happened to the Rent Boys. So evil is evil. It doesn't matter whether it's left or right. It doesn't matter what part of the political spectrum you're from. But over the next few years, before I get to the Beckhams, over the next few years, you will see that there is, and I'm not going to mention anything more about what I've just talked about from here on in on this live. Because even though there are people that seek the truth and are truth seekers, sometimes the truth is a bitter pill to swallow. And it's almost as if we're in 2026 and we can't. I've told you, this year is going to be wild, wild, beyond your wildest imaginings. And you have no idea. Some people have said in the comments tonight, we're just watching a movie. And it's that uncertainty that throws people, discombobulates them. Trump's trying his best. He stared evil in the eyes today. He knows what they're up to because he's being briefed by the CIA. He's being briefed by his own intelligence units, organizations. And that's why he's had a word with Starmer and the Brits, MI5 and MI6. Do as you're told, otherwise we're going to withhold intelligence from you. And Starmer and the Labour government don't want that. So I would, certainly over the next 2 or 3 months, Stuart won't watch it. The U Bovrill's not interested. Lionel said I couldn't bear to watch it. And Les Griffith says, please don't watch it. I agree. Because it will affect you in ways you can't imagine for the rest of your life. Some people have seen it and said you can't unsee it. That's the problem. Lewis says, how old is that film? 15 years. I think the majority of people saw it because there was about 2011, 2012. 147, Adam, isn't it a deep fake? No. Because this was before AI had the ability to do that. Long before AI, says Gribbo. It's not fake. So let's get on to something else. Let's not wallow in that. But as I say repeatedly, I'm not going to do the thinking for you. I'm not telling you what to think. It's an old martial arts adage. I can point at the moon. It's up to you whether you look at it. In fact, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a video in the morning about the Beckhams. Just want a couple of questions to ask you. Firstly, I'm going to change the mental image. The John Wayne entrance today, whether it be via aeroplane or helicopter, that's the stranger coming into town. walking into the cathedral of global consensus. But whether people cheer or hiss, they'll watch. So whether you like Trump or not, you might have been watching today just to exactly see what he was going to say. So, question or two, maybe. 1 for yes, 2 for no, 3 for I don't know. This is a bit obtuse, but 1 for yes, 2 for no. So in this case, the question is 1, dialogue, 2, choreography, 3, it's a bit late at night, Adrian, I'm not quite sure. Is Davos for dialogue or choreography? 1 for dialogue, 2 for choreography. And there is a reason why I've asked the question that way. Lauren Taylor says, that is beyond my comprehension. My brain isn't able to even grasp that. Then don't dwell on it, Lauren. Just leave it. Now, it's interesting. Davy Bevan, Lewis, Tom Harney's, Sir Andrew, 50-50, Sir Andrew James, but the Hugh Bovril, everybody is saying choreography. Will Holmes, Garen Davis, Oval Raw, Albert Metcalf, Mad Matt UK, Ray Norton, Ligalista, good to see you in the body of the Kirk, Ligalista, Dodzer, Lauren Taylor, choreography. So I'll Gribbo is the same. I see you is unsure. So if you've seen the speech today, here's a further, I see you says, both. I'm going to ask you a further question as an addendum to the first question. No, I didn't, Les. Did you hear that BBC woman hissing at the mention of Jesus? Well, she would do. The communists don't believe in faith. Not that they're agnostic, but they're communists. So, second question, to follow on from the first. Did Trump go to Davos to negotiate or to dominate? Negotiate 1, dominate 2, 50-50 for 3. Did Trump go to Davos to negotiate or to dominate? Interesting. Most people are saying to dominate, but Nathan Diamond and I See You and Lionel are all saying negotiate, but everybody else, Albert Metcalf and Gribbo, Gribbo, Matt Whedon are saying 50-50. Interesting. Garen Davis and Finn Game was names, if I got that correct. Dominate, Ray Norton, Comic Mania, Fatal Racing Driver and Dodzer. Everybody saying Legalista, Linyu, give them the terms of their surrender. There is every chance of that. I can't see who that is. That's not Stuart. Is it Stuart? Pure evil. But thank you to that person for your continued support of the channel. Just to show them he wouldn't take any of their crap and warn them not to interfere. Enver, very good. We are expanding our backyard and there is nothing you can do about it. There's now 2 fires. Dear God. Is there any, whilst I'm on, and I'm going to wind up in 5 minutes, can you let me know where it is, where the fires are? If it's at the conference centre, that's where most people would be. And the conference centre on fire? Thank you, Stuart. Thank you, Stephen. Gribbo says, one is a hotel, Adrian. Have they named the hotel? Because I've stayed in a few, and Les Griffiths, you don't negotiate with evil. I'm very curious as to the name of the hotel. One is the Congress Centre, the other is a food stand outside a nearby hotel. Interesting. Thank you, Enver. But the Congress Centre, I mean, I don't think they serve food at the Congress Centre. But anybody can wander in. Because, and Trump is staying kind of outside of town, but close enough to town for him to get in there within 5 or 10 minutes. It's interesting, Kaz. A conference centre, strange smell causing coughing. Des says, to show them they are no longer safe anywhere. Yeah? Didn't happen the day before he arrived. I think that's a massive story. I'm not sure they will allow it full reign. But what are the sources? Is it the BBC? Is it Sky, GB News? Very interesting. Very, very interesting. Conference centre evacuated, so was hotel. Fire being put out. Interesting. Really interesting. They don't like it up them, Captain Mannering. So, right, okay. Just want to wind things up, I think. So everyone, we've been speaking. Oh, the Mirror Online. Interesting. Thank you, Theo Bovril. So tonight we've been talking about Trump, Davos in the greater sense. Was that low energy Trump? No, I would suggest it wasn't. I think there's some credibility to jet lag. Low energy is chaos. But this was contained force, in my view. It wasn't Clint Eastwood or John Wayne, but the guns stayed holstered. But the price list came out. Greenland doesn't need invading when it can be priced. Oh, thank you, Stuart. Really appreciate it, as ever, young sir. Denmark doesn't need conquering when it can be cornered diplomatically. And Davos? Well, Davos just watched the weather change and pretended it was still indoors. But here's the part they don't want you thinking about. When leaders say no boots on the ground, what they mean is that the pressure moves upstream. It moves upstream into trade, security guarantees, currency flows, and silence bought with smiles. You see, 2026, this is the age of frictionless power. No declarations, no drums, just terms and consequences. So if tonight felt underwhelming to some, that's because they're still waiting for the spectacle. But the real story is quieter, colder, and if I may be so bold, far more dangerous. Because when empire stops shouting, it's not retreating, it's negotiating. My name's Adrian Allen. Thank you for your likes. Just 5 more and we get it over to 100, over 100. So if you could smash the likes before we bring it to a conclusion this evening, that would be much appreciated. Thank you. My name's Adrian Allen. Thank you for your likes, your subscriptions, but most of all, your indulgence. Be well, stay safe. I have got plans for stuff over the next few days for your information and entertainment. As I say, I'm trying to arrange more interviews for a series, a Sunday morning series that I'm going to do. And that is underway. So wherever you go, whatever you do over the next few days before the next live on Sunday, be well, stay safe. It's cold, it's winter, the snow's coming, wrap up warm, and don't forget the emergency Battenberg. And the Theatre of the Mind, this has been Live 284. It's not a show, it's a mission. It's a mission for truth. And the journey continues. Sunday, 7:15 for a 7:30 start. Hope you've enjoyed tonight. It's been a hell of a day. We'll see what tomorrow brings and what the papers make of these fires in Davos. See you Sunday.